the subconscious is most active, most responsive in the first hour of the morning and in the last hour of the night. So high performers have a very specific routine called maybe a morning ritual that they stick to, and then an evening ritual that they stick to as well.
Hey guys, welcome to our SoulFam podcast, where I interview space holders from all over the world. I am your host. My name is Carolina, and I am the connection catalyst. Today on the show, we have Abid Tej, the subconscious specialist. Welcome to the show, Abid. How are you doing?
Amazing. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
I am super excited to talk to you, because I know that apart from the subconscious specialist, you're also a crypto nerd, which is quite exciting for me because I feel like this is the future. And I would really love to touch upon how to really dive into these topics consciously. But before we do that, I would love you to share a little bit of your story. How did you become the subconscious specialist, and what has really inspired you to choose this specific path? Has it started, in childhood, teenage years, or just tell us a little bit of your story?
Absolutely. So, as a young kid, I was always fascinated about how I could be. My Instagram handle is the being, so it's always how I could always be better, right? So what I could always do. So I went with this mindset from a very young age, and that was kind of all the generic type of stuff. And then as I got older, and I went into a life of startups and working in business and that kind of stuff. And then I had what I call a quarter life crisis. So this is when essentially I had got the things that society told me I needed to have. I had the nice job, the nice house, all this kind of stuff. And I felt really unfulfilled inside. And then I also saw my partner who was going through a nervous breakdown at that time. And it really was a very heavy weight on my mental health. So I decided, okay, this is enough. I'm going to quit everything. So I quit my life in London, and we bought a one-way ticket to East Asia to kind of reset, to recenter, to reconnect with us. We had kind of reached the end of Western medicine with regards to her health, and with me trying to actually level up. And that's when we actually discovered the subconscious mind. So we discovered that through Dr. Bruce Lipton, but also there was a bunch of other people talking about the subconscious. So I'm like, okay, this is all great. Like, it sounds good. And Bruce Lipton, well, there is this method that you can actually learn, and you can hack into your subconscious and transform stuff in minutes, which normally takes years. I'm like, okay, yeah, right. It sounds a bit too good to be true. But then there was a beautiful synchronicity with the universe. And, we were coming back from our travels, and there happened to be a workshop in London the week we came back. So we signed up, and yeah, the rest was history. I was absolutely blown away at that workshop, and I decided to get the full training done. And that is what brought me on this path.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Sounds like the universe brought you Psych K exactly in the moment that you needed it. And it's what usually happens, right? It's what usually, whenever we want to manifest something, it just comes into our life. And actually, it's so funny because even the story of how I manifested seeing Bruce Lipton is funny too, if I might share, because of course, Bruce Lipton is the one why I did Psych K, but I was like, I always wanted to see Bruce Lipton, Teal Swan, and a few other guys in person, like Greg Braden and other people that I followed on YouTube. And in January, I think it was 2019, and I set an intention in January for the new year to do like a training and to meet all these people and whatever. And actually, when I was in Australia, one of my flatmates was like, actually, she was like in New Zealand, and she was like, oh, I'm meeting this guy, Alex Lipton. Maybe you know his uncle Bruce. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I freaking love Bruce Lipton. Like, what are you saying? And she was like sending me selfies with Bruce and Alex. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I want to meet him too. And then she literally sends me a screenshot of the email that she got from Bruce saying, bring your friend and come to my seminar in Auckland. I'm gonna sign you up for a list. You can come. And I'm like, I can't believe that Bruce Lipton invited me for his seminar. What the hell is going on? I was just so excited. And it was just such a manifestation because I was not attached to it at all. I was just like, this is what I want. This is who I want to meet. The universe, please bring me that. And I just let it go. I didn't plan to do anything. I didn't do anything about it. It just came. And then I was like, okay. I said to my ex-partner, like, okay, Ricky, we need to go to Auckland. Like, there is no way. Bruce Lipton invited us. We have to do this. And then, yeah, when we met, he told me that I was like, I'm doing NLP, I'm doing Reiki, but I just don't feel like that's on point for me personally. And he was like, do the Psych K, you're gonna love it. I'm like, alrighty, I trust him, you know, I'm gonna do this. So yeah, I'm really loving how the universe just brings us everything we need in the exact moment that we need.
What a story.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know. And, you know, like, and Psych K was such a, I don't know, mind-blowing method for me, because I've never heard of energy psychology before and the whole brain state before. And it's like, how crazy is that, that you can actually put your brain in a state that is the state of super learning? Like, why don't we teach it at school? I mean, you know, like if everyone knew about it, like it would be freaking crazy. The world would be a way better place, I believe. But yeah, we are here advocates for Psych K. And I would love to talk about the mindset when it comes to, you know, high performing people and not that high performing people, because I know that you help high performers to heal their trauma and anxiety and so on. So what is the difference, first of all, in the mindset of people who are performing high and the ones who are not doing it that well, right? Like, what kind of setup do high performers need to have to actually achieve their goals?
Great question. So I guess there's quite a lot of different differences, but let's start with three main points. So one of them is, you know, number one, they take responsibility, 100% responsibility for themselves and their lives, right? They're not in a victim mindset. They're not out here blaming the world or their partner or their financial situation or whatever it might be, their government, their country, for their situation. They're taking responsibility for their situation. And with that responsibility means that they are ready to take action to solve whatever the issue may be. So that's number one, and that's a huge, huge thing. Number two, I would say, is that they are willing to heal their traumas, or maybe they even actually understand the impact their childhood, their traumas, and all of these events on their lives have had on them, and they are ready to do the work, right? But what I mean by that is there's a lot of people that actually maybe they understand knowingly or unknowingly that stuff has happened, but they're not ready to quite heal. They're not ready to quite go into that void and to actually go into those kind of often, you know, dark spaces to face what shadows that may be there, to face that darkness so they can bring out that light. I think those two are probably the biggest ones. And then the third one, I guess, would just be their micro habits, right? Micro habits is all the way down from how they wake up in the morning, what they do in that first hour of the day, how they set themselves up for work, you know, and what they do in the evening, right? What they do in that last hour of the day, because as you probably know, the subconscious is most active, most responsive in the first hour of the morning and in the last hour of the night. So high performers have a very specific routine called maybe a morning ritual that they stick to, and then an evening ritual that they stick to as well.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any recommendations for the morning and the evening ritual, or something that has personally worked for you or for your clients generally?
Yeah, definitely. So for the morning ritual, I love what I call the hour of power, right? And for me, I normally dedicate an hour to my morning ritual. So that is mind, body, spirit. So I take 20 minutes to work on the mind, 20 minutes to work on the body, 20 minutes to work on the spirit. So what this can be. And I say mind, body, spirit because, you know, at the end of the day, we are divine human beings and everyone's rhythm is different. So when I say the mind, it can be something like maybe you're reading, maybe you're journaling, maybe you're learning, maybe you're doing something like that. Maybe you're putting on a TED talk. When I say the body, it can be, you know, it might be 20 minutes of yoga, it might be weights, it might be kettlebells, it might be walking, it might be stretching, whatever it is. And 20 minutes spirit might be the gratitude journaling, it might be the meditation, it might be, you know, the mirror practice and repeating affirmations, just stuff like that. So that's the hour of power. I love to stick to that. Now, obviously, it takes a while to work your way up to an hour morning ritual. For some people, they're like, you know, I just have 10 minutes. So even if you can condense that into 3 minutes of each, right? But the important thing is just to get started, just to do that. And when you do that, I promise you, just take a 7-day test, do it for 7 days, start with 20 minutes a day, maybe, right? And you'll see the difference in how you feel. And what you're really doing is you're raising your vibration at the start of the day. And when you raise your vibration at the start of the day, when you wake up in that good mood, or even when you don't, and you do habits or rituals that put you in a better state of mood, that means your whole day can take a different path. And for the evening, I think it's really important to switch off, right? In this world, we've got so much information coming in areas of our life. So for the evening, I think it's really important just to kind of avoid all the screens. So, you know, I like to shut off my phone, shut off my Wi-Fi, actually take off my router, I put everything off. And then I really enjoy going for a walk without any stimulation, just going for a nice evening walk. And that makes me kind of, you know, I just reflect on the day, what went well, what didn't go well, what I can do better. And it's really interesting because when we're in that state, when we're actually, I guess, passively thinking, ideas and stuff starts to come up from the subconscious to maybe problems we may have had. So I like to do that. And then I like to end with just a few, you know, I like to end with prayer and end with gratitude as well.
Whoa, that's amazing. I love your rituals, and I love how you kind of like take mind, body, and spirit all like in three parts. And actually this is what I do too. I do meditation, relaxation meditation at first, and then I do a little bit of movement like yoga and dancing, and I always make sure to have a little bit of reading just throughout the day. But actually now that you're saying that, and maybe it would be good to do in the morning as well, to have like this whole mind, body, soul all-encompassing ritual. I love that. I love that idea. And I actually don't have an evening ritual, so now I'm thinking maybe I should do this too, because usually in the evening, yeah, people like, I don't know, watching Netflix, or they like, you know, scrolling Instagram or whatever. But it's actually so important that your eyes and your brain don't get this kind of stimulation before you go to sleep, because then you can sleep way better. So actually, I guess meditation or walking or something very slow would help better for better sleep, and then you can perform higher as well, I'm guessing. But yeah, it's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. And so you mentioned that people who are performing high are more of the creator, have a creator mentality rather than victim mentality. But for a lot of people, it's actually hard to get there, you know, to be a creator and take this responsibility and actually like, you know, take responsibility for all your thoughts or your actions. And I feel like it's also because people associate responsibility. And I was this kind of person even like 2 weeks ago, because I literally just reprogrammed the whole idea of responsibility in my subconscious mind recently, where I worked on beliefs like responsibility is freedom, responsibility is power, responsibility is love. And I actually really saw how it is, because if you have responsibility, and responsibility is your ability to respond, right? So if you look at the definition, ability to respond, if you have ability to respond, if you develop your ability to respond, you can pretty much create the life the way you want it, because you respond in the way you want it. And then through law of attraction, how you respond is going to attract you more of what you are, of how you feel, right? So if you can respond with good feelings, or respond with acceptance, or respond in a way that is like in flow and connected to your higher self and just really divine, then responsibility is actually the biggest freedom you can have, because you are the creator of your own life then, rather than everything happening to you. And actually it's never like everything is happening to you, everything is happening for you. Even the worst traumas, even the worst things that, you know, our shadows, even these things are actually very much for us, not to us. But having said that, I know that a lot of people have this belief that responsibility is restriction, responsibility is something overwhelming, it's too much, it's like the, you know, and I know why it could be. Like, for example, I can see that many parents, you know, at least my parents, or my generation's parents, let's say, they might have this kind of fear of responsibility of having a kid, for example, like it's too much, they didn't maybe not know what to do, or maybe they were too young. And I feel like it's so ingrained, because we as children, we take everything in as a sponge. And I feel like a lot of people have this fear of responsibility from their parents, even unconsciously. But what would you say to these people who are still stuck in this paradigm, like, oh, I don't want to you know, put myself out there, it is scary, or this is happening to me, or they are blaming others? Like, what would you say to get out of this kind of mindset?
I will say that where you are is okay. And what I mean by that is, you are exactly where you need to be to do what you need to do, right? And I feel like no one actually, when they first come out and they go through the life, no one is a creator straight away, or in that creator mindset and taking responsibility. Everyone starts off as a victim, right? We're always just blaming other people, blaming our situation unconsciously or consciously, because that's the way we've been programmed, a lot of us, right? So we have to go through a journey where we actually come to a point where we realize we can't keep blaming everyone all the time for our situation. And when we have that moment of awareness, when we have that thought, we're like, okay, I'll make a list of everyone to blame, but the number one person on that list is me, right? I am responsible, as you said, for this life. And when you have that flip of the switch, and when you start becoming empowered to create that life, to read more about, you know, just how there are laws of how the world works, there's universal laws, right? Law of attraction is one of them. And when we start understanding these laws and working with these laws, we go into naturally the creator kind of mindset. So I'd say that it's okay if that's where you are, that's where you are. Just be at peace with where you are, because only when you are at peace and accepting and loving of where you are, then you can actually get ready for the next step of where you want to go.
Amazing. I love that. Yeah, because usually people don't actually really accept where they are at if they are in the victim mode. They want to be somewhere else, but then they don't really do anything about it. So then they are blaming everyone. But usually, we live in a mirror universe, right? So if we blame others, we actually blame ourselves. So if we can look at it in this way, it's like, okay, what can I change within me so that the universe reflects what is inside of me? And that's why the subconscious work is so cool, because you actually really see the changes when you do methods like Psyche or any other energy psychology or any other subconscious mind work. Really, you can see the changes in your world, sometimes instantly, at least in my case. Sometimes from day one to day two, you can see a shift in your reality, because the energy that was filtering your reality inside of you is completely shifted. So I actually love what you said, that everyone goes through this journey of like, victim towards the creator, and everyone is just like, okay, what am I going to do? But if you really want to achieve more in your life, if you want to expand, if you want to perform high in whichever area of your life, really, you need to stop blaming other people for your own shit, right? That's what I believe anyway. And so it's really, really beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all that. And yeah, I totally agree with everything you said. But it's actually really interesting how you can look at, people who are successful and then people who are not successful, and clearly see the differences, like in the perception of the world, right? Like people who are successful always think of the solutions, whereas people who are not always think about problems. And you can really clearly, like, you can have a 5-minute conversation with someone, and based on that, you can already say, oh, this person is gonna like go somewhere or not, right? Because it's all in our mind, it's all our perspective, it's all our approach to life that creates our life, not like the conditions, not even the parents or how they have brought us up, because then we can go and make a change in ourselves if we want to, if we choose to, right? But we need to be open-minded and open to the world and open to explore. So I'm super grateful that both me and you and all these people that I'm talking to on this podcast are on this path of changing themselves for the better, and that we are really blessed to know that this is how the world works. I feel, I'm really, really appreciating this, because like not everyone knows that, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's so true. And what is even more amazing is the fact that, even now, like, we can actually become the fly on the wall and listen to conversations with the top performers in the world, right? Like, I can go onto YouTube right now and I can listen to how a billionaire thinks for an hour, right? I can listen to someone who has, and this is the thing, success is different for different people, right? Success might mean a lot of money. It might actually mean having a really strong family. It might actually mean having deep relationships with people. And the truth is, you can find those people who are successful in whatever area of your life you want to be successful in on the internet. And you can go and you can listen to them speak for an hour a day, and you can actually get into their thoughts and get into their minds. And when you start to do that, every single day, you become what you see, right? You begin to actually think how they think, and that's when you start to create how they create as well.
Oh, yeah, that's really, really cool that you're sharing this, because even when you see someone or you hear someone, you are absorbing their energy and you're accumulating all this information in your subconscious mind. And that brings me also to the topic, like, do not watch the news. Kind of thing,
big topic.
Because if you do watch the news and you only, see and hear how shit the world is, then your subconscious mind absorbs it. And as you say, it's so accessible nowadays that we are, in the modern world, everything is accessible. Everyone is accessible so easily that we can easily program our subconscious mind by listening to people. So yeah, that's really, really powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think it's very crucial for people to know that if we watch someone do something, it's like the same areas of our brain are activated, right? If we watch someone and if we actually do it by ourselves. So that means that if we watch someone, I don't know, playing the drums, as I like playing the drums, I'm actually almost playing the drums inside of myself. So if you can watch all the people who inspire you, all the people who are there where you want to be, you actually become subconsciously more and more like them. So I freaking loved everything you shared. It's amazing. Thank you so much. It's really, really, really cool. And so I would love to touch a little bit upon the conscious crypto, because it is an interesting topic for me. First of all, like, do you feel like this is a new way of how people can manifest abundance into their lives, and really without, working hard and without all these bullshit beliefs like, okay, we need to struggle, we need to work from 9 to 5 and all these things? Do you see it from your just intuitive insight as a new way of, like, making money, and a new, let's say, new earth, quote unquote, way of how people can get abundant? Or how do you see the whole crypto theme, let's say?
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. As in exactly what you said, I definitely resonate with the words that you're saying around this. And for me, I feel like, as you probably know, and a lot of your audience and other people that have been here know, we're in the creation of a new earth, right? We're creating heaven on earth right now. We're moving into that shift right now. And you can look at the astrology, you can look at everything, all of the signs are there. Now, one of the first and biggest things we have to do is there has to be a destruction of the old before we recreate the new, right? And what does that mean? That means that right now we're actually seeing a lot of systems being destroyed, a lot of our governmental systems, our economic systems, the way we do work, the way we view family, all of this kind of stuff, right? And with crypto, I feel like the world has got so much abundance, enough abundance right now for everyone to live as they want to live. Just the fact that, 50% of the world goes hungry, yet the other 50%, yet America wastes 50% of their food, right? So it's these little things just means there's an inefficiency in our systems. And one of the biggest inefficiencies is finance, is money, because just the fact that you are, wherever you are in the world, and I'm in America. So where are you right now?
Spain.
Oh, beautiful. I love Spain. Okay, cool.
Me too.
So you're in Spain at the moment, right? So now if I wanted to send you money, and if I wanted to send you money to Spain, I have to go through like 3 or 4 middlemen to send you, let's just say if I want to send you $1,000, right? And each of those middlemen takes their cut, right? So every single person is taking out their little bit of money just for me to send you money. Now, this stuff is very, very simple. But what it means is that there's a lot of value being extracted from the system every single year. Now, with crypto, with all of this stuff, I feel that what it does is it removes the middlemen. It removes the banks. It removes all these people who are really greedy, who are just taking their share of stuff, that the money that doesn't actually belong to them, right? And with crypto, what we're seeing now is a whole new paradigm for the way that people actually get rewarded for their work. Like if you look at NFTs, for example, and if you look at artists, and what we're now going to see is musicians and all these things, a lot of them, you hear about the broke artists, right? The struggling artists. There's a reason you hear that, because even if you're an artist and if you are putting out your work, traditionally it's really hard for you to actually sell your work. And then if you're going to try to sell it, you have to go to a gallery, and the gallery takes like a huge percentage. But now you can set it up as an NFT and you get all of the money that you should get, right? So this is a whole new state of empowerment. That's what I see. I see cryptocurrency and the underlying technology of blockchain being one, empowerment for a lot of people, and number two, being honest. It's a truth system, because it actually shows you exactly what is going on. And that means people can't hide. That also means the government can't hide, where they're taking our tax money and putting them onto all these kind of, dodgy projects and black deep state projects, which, that's a whole other topic for. So it's a whole new truth consciousness, which is coming in, and money needs truth. Money needs honesty. And that when it has that, we become empowered.
This is amazing. I love what you shared, especially that recently I've been translating this book called Love Money, Money Loves You. It's a channeling of the energy of money. I've been speaking about it on other podcasts too, but you just mentioned something that they also said, because it's like the money talks to you, right? It's a channeling of money. So it's like, hello, I'm money. This is how you should operate with me, and this is how you should not. And one of the things, it's like there's a chapter saying you need to be honest about money, that so many people hide how much money they have, how much money they earn, and all these things about money. And if you really want to bring this energy in, you need to be open and truthful. Like your throat needs to be open. You need to express the truth, the honesty, right? And so I love how you intertwine the honesty with crypto, because I can resonate with it a lot. Like there is no bullshit in there. There is no middleman, as you said. There is no way that it can go in any like fraud or anything like that. So I'm really loving this conversation, because I resonate with it a lot. And also upon that, I feel like I'm not sure if you agree with that, but I've heard somewhere, and I feel like it's true, that we are now in this whole awakening process and this whole new earth creation because of internet. Because like we have so many different perspectives on the world right now from all over the world that we haven't had access to before. Even our parents didn't have that much access to it before, and even if they did, they maybe didn't know how to look for information. But our generation, more or less, we know where to find information. And of course there is a lot of bullshit out there too, but there is so many various perspectives that instead of sitting in our box, in our subconscious mind, programming just as our parents and their parents and their parents told us, we are actually open to everything. And as you said before, we can listen to some high performers, and we can listen to some gurus, we can listen to some other like religions as well. We can really get perspectives. And do you feel like, and also the crypto and the NFT and everything, do you feel like the internet is actually one of the steps in a way for us to create the new earth? And do you really feel like it's a little bit like push to our awakening, or to us being more high vibrational and being closer to source?
Absolutely, absolutely. As people sometimes have a bad relationship with the technology, and they say like, I don't want to have any technology. I just want to live in a mountain and be that guru in the cave. And if that's what you want to do, go and do that. But that's not how the world is working, and we have to embrace technology, because that is a huge part of what it is and what we are, right? And what you said about internet, I love that. For sure, the internet has become such a huge catalyst in our spiritual evolution, because as you said, we are now able to tap into information at the click of a button, information which our previous didn't get for a lifetime. We're able to get in just a few minutes, right? We're able to access and tap into amazing teachers and gurus and knowledge and esoteric wisdom, but also we're able to connect with one another so much more. And right now, yes, the internet may be patrolled by a few big companies which kind of control what you want to see, but if you go deeper and down into the rabbit hole, what I see is that when the internet becomes more truthful and more honest, which is what Web3 is all about, and crypto and blockchain is what is all about, and that was the original vision for the internet, and that is when it's going to really catalyze our evolution and our awakening. But even now, just the fact that you and me can connect on this conversation, despite us being in literally two different parts of the world, you have an audience of other people who are like-minded and they're drawn to you. They may feel alone in their family. They may be the black sheep of their family. They might be going through an evolution or an awakening completely by themselves. And back in the day, they might have been diagnosed with a mental health disorder and put into the hospital because they would have been seen as someone that was completely, out of sorts. But just the fact that they can connect with me and you and all your other beautiful guests and understand that I'm not alone, right? And it brings us closer, which is what this is all about. And I love that.
Oh, amazing. And it's so aligned with the vision for SoulFam, because SoulFam is going to be an app connecting all these beautiful conscious people from all over the world. And my main intention for that is that everyone who has some kind of awakening experience has someone to talk to, because I was quite lonely at the beginning of my spiritual journey, because no one knew anything about it. I knew only one person that introduced me to it, but I didn't even know if I can trust him that much. And then none of my friends, none of my family, just no one was there telling me, okay, this is normal, or this exists. I was just like, what the hell? So my intention is that no one ever has to feel like this, feel so alone in that. So that's perfectly aligned. I'm super, super grateful that you're talking about this, because I feel like so many people need that. So many people just need to know that they are not alone. And especially like even in emotional healing, right? If you want to heal the trauma, just the very knowing that you are not alone with your emotion helps you already heal. If you have someone there holding space for you, just not going through the fear or the loneliness alone or anything, really, it gives you space to really go deep into the feeling. And that's like a metaphor for anything in life, really. If you have some support, if you feel like someone is holding you, you can really dive deep into any area of your life and feel safe there and feel really empowered. So yeah, it's really, really beautiful, everything you shared. I love that. And so do you feel like we can really, like in your perspective, do you feel like we can really switch from all these banks and all these like normal money to crypto? Like, do you feel like it's realistic? And if yes, when would that happen?
When it would happen, I've stopped putting a timeline on stuff, because even if you're familiar with channeled material, they say there's just so much energy and so much movement happening. We can't predict stuff, right? And that's the truth, because as a human species, our collective energy is shifting in every single moment, right? And what does that mean? That means our timeline shifts in every single moment. So for us to actually do this, it's really hard. Now, can we actually shift away from banks? Yes, of course we can. You know, there's if we look at historically as humans, and if you look at us in cycles or whatever, yes, it may take a few years, but it can definitely be done. Now, does it help that the government has printed trillions of dollars and has kind of wiped out a lot of the value of a lot of currencies? Yes, it does, right? Because now people are awakening to this. Does it also help that modern democratic governments like Canada are stopping their people, are locking down their people, are blocking people's bank accounts for simply voting with their dollar? Yes, of course it does, because now people are looking elsewhere for all of this type of stuff, right? So everything is working towards that outcome of awakening, which is what we are in. It cannot be stopped. No matter who you are, you cannot stop this process, right? Now, how long it will take, I don't know, but I think we're definitely going to see it in our lifetime for sure.
Oh, that's amazing. That's really an empowering vision. And I honestly believe that we are shifting so much and so fast that we need to see it. Like, I'm manifesting that we do see it in our lifetime. That's all. Like, that's my manifestation out there.
Let's hold that vision. Exactly.
Yes, let's just hold it and be with this vision together. And I also want to come back for a little bit to this topic of technology, because I just remembered something that I wanted to share when you were speaking, that one of my spiritual mentors, Teal Swan, she was talking about technology as like a thought form, or as like a let's say a being or an energy that we have a relationship to. And she was like, okay, so now we have the physical world, but we also have the virtual world, and some people spend in their virtual world actually like a lot of their life, you know, half of their life or whatever. And so she was saying how we need to be really cautious of how we treat technology, because, you know, people are scared of like AI or like robots doing something to humans, like, you know, all these movies about robots killing people or whatever, right? But she was saying like, look, if you want the technology to work well for you and actually to have a good relationship with technology, just really like create the good vibes about it. Don't get like pissed off, or don't hate technology, or don't like push it away, because it's already a part of your life, and it's a thought form. It's like an energy, and it has power. This is a world created by us as a thought form, as an energy. So we need to treat it with respect. We need to treat it as we want the technology to treat us, because once there is an AI and there are some, you know, robots or whatever, the technology will kind of like backfire in a way, let's say like a karma, you know, almost like karma. It's like if we treat technology well and we just treat it with love and we appreciate it and we are grateful that we have access to it, then it's beautiful. We create a beautiful energy. But if we feel like it's bad, or if we just hate it, or if we're scared of it, or whatever else, that just doesn't help this relationship. And I just wanted to mention it and ask, what do you think about it? Like, or how do you feel about it rather?
I love that. I love that perspective. And I think, as you said, it's all about empowerment, right? It's allowing technology to empower us rather than to diminish us, because we can go onto the virtual world and we can just kind of distract ourselves all day, all night, and just not face our problems, not face our issues, not face our reality on this earth, and just go into this virtual world. And that's going to be even more scarier when we can actually go into a world with the headset or whatever, right? But when we can actually be empowered with technology, when we can actually use it to benefit us, when we can use it to connect with other people, when we can use it to, you know, transact in a beautiful way and support people who we want to support, that's when it uplifts us. And as you said, because it's such a huge thing, it has an energy about it, and we have to respect that energy. And then, you know, that brings to mind for me the mythical, or maybe not a mythical story of Atlantis, right? Atlantis and Lemuria. And that was a time when, you know, in our ancient history, where we had two very, very advanced civilizations. Lemuria was very spiritually advanced, and Atlantis was very technologically advanced. And what happened to Atlantis is they got too full of themselves. They got too big with their head, with the technology that they had, and that they were powerful, and God came down and he smited them, is what it said, right? So that whole civilization came crumbling down. And I think what we're seeing right now is maybe a new cycle of that history, maybe a new timeline of that history, where yes, we have such powerful technology. Now the question is, do we want to embrace that technology? Do we want to honor the technology? Or do we want to actually let it get to our heads and become too full of ourselves and, you know, maybe go down the wrong path?
Yes, that's so spot on. I actually really believe that we are in the cycle in a way, coming back to these awakening moments and just really deciding how we're going to go from there. That's really, really amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. And I could sit here and talk to you for hours more, but unfortunately we have to finish now. But I'm really loving the vibe and the conversation. So one quick last question. Where could people find you? What's the best to contact you, to see your content, when someone really resonates with you and wants to know more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So the website is theoptimalbeing.com, and I'm on the Instagram under the same handle. I post quite frequently on Instagram, so just feel free to message me or just to send me an email.
Amazing. Thank you so much, brother, for sharing yourself with us. It's been an
My
amazing
pleasure.
conversation. I'm sending you so much love and gratitude for this.
Received and like back. Thank you so much, Carolina, and thank you for the space. As you said, I can when you have that connection, you can just speak and speak and speak. But it's been beautiful. So thank you for having me on.